Hey, what's up, comrades? Hope you're all doing well today. Go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe. And we're going to talk about another Princess Peach game that I played because my daughter loves Princess Peach. And this one is actually a Princess Peach game. Now, I've played Mario 2 with just Princess Peach, and I played Mario 3 where someone hacked in Princess Peach instead of Mario. But this one is a straight up Princess Peach game. This is Super Princess Peach for the DS. And it's just an interesting game. It's an especially interesting game to emulate, because sometimes you play these DS games on emulators like a Dragon Quest 6 or something. And the stylus is completely unnecessary. Like, you don't need to touch it, you don't need to do anything. So you're just playing this game, you got the dual screen set up, and it's actually, I prefer to play it in emulation because you can see like everything that's going on much easier than like that tiny handheld screen. But with this one, there's a lot. It's a Nintendo game, so obviously the stylus is a huge part. And there's even parts where it's like, go ahead and breathe into the mic. And I'm like, well, that's not happening. Thank goodness that was unnecessary. But the stylus section, so the big thing is, so Bowser is on an island, like vacationing or whatever, and then his wizard's like, oh hey, there's a scepter here that we can use to like control people's emotions, so we can use that to capture Mario finally. And so Bowser's like, make it happen. So they find it, and then they send a Goomba to use it just in case like things go awry. They can just be like, it's just a Goomba, fuck him. So the Goomba and a bunch of the turtle troops go, and they use it, and it works. So they're able to capture Mario, Luigi, and the main Toad, who's Toad, and not like the 700. They capture a lot of Toads, actually, because that's part of the main point of the game is rescuing Toads in every level. And in fact, you have to rescue the Toads in every level to beat the game. Not to get the good ending, to physically fight Bowser, the last boss. You have to rescue every Toad. There's 3 Toads per level, except the boss levels, which only have 1 Toad. And that was super annoying. I'm not going to lie. To have to go back to like not take seriously rescuing the Toads, and then have to go back to all these levels and like re-rescue them. It wasn't a big deal. It maybe took me like an hour to go collect, because I had most of them. I think I was missing like 15 Toads maybe throughout all 8 levels. So it wasn't the end of the world, but I was like, I gotta keep playing this, man. And so the Toads are hidden in like these pink boxes in each level, and you just gotta find 3 of them. And you do that through like kind of similar mechanics. They're never that difficult, and the game's very kind because it's like a Nintendo game for children. That every time, the top screen is where you play like the traditional Mario style game, right? Where it's like you jump and you hit blocks and you jump on enemies. Princess Peach has an umbrella, so you can just clobber people, so it's even easier. And then she can kind of float, and you can charge like a ranged attack, which I never used ever. And then after you beat the game, if you want to keep playing like the New Game Plus stuff, which I did not, you can do like kind of a rumble attack where she'll just keep swinging the umbrella really fast as you like run, where normally I guess you stop. I don't know. I didn't notice that much difference. I was like confused what exactly it did, but there it is. You have hearts. You can buy, you get coins, right? And you keep the coins, and then there's a shop. You can buy more hearts. You also have like magic. So the magic comes from the umbrella, and it comes from activating her emotions. So the 4 emotions are green emotion, which I think is happiness. That heals you. Then there's the red emotion, which is anger and fire. So it creates like a fire thing around you. You can use it to burn bridges. You can use it on like a hot air balloon to make it lift up. And then it just does damage to things as you run around. There's the blue emotion, which is sadness, which causes her to cry. You can use that to grow vines to climb up. You can use it to freeze the ground in the ice level so you can slide longer. Yeah. And also, she has a slide, so if you're running, which unless you're holding a certain button, you will always be running. But sometimes you need to walk because there's ledges and stuff that will break unless you're holding the button to like walk. And then let's see. Oh, there's like a water wheel in one level that you got to activate so you can get a Toad. And then when you're crying, she runs really fast. So they have these platforms, like in a lot of Mario games, where if you stand them too long, they'll fall. But they got 2 kinds. They got the regular kind and the kind that falls like immediately. So essentially, you don't have to use the crying to run fast most of the time, as long as you're like quick. But there's a couple times where it's like you cannot move fast enough to do it, so you have to kind of jump from platform to platform. But they have like spikes right above. So if you try to jump, you're going to hit those spikes. So you have to use it. And that's how they block off a lot of this stuff. And it's never like that hard because the umbrella can pick most monsters up and then eat them. And if they right, and when the umbrella eats them, you get magic points. And then there's just like magic crystals around, just kind of periodically. Oh, and the last emotion is laughter. are light. It's like happiness, because I was confused. It seemed like one was like joy and then one was like laughter, but then the yellow emotion, which is one of those two, it lets you fly, right? And so and then you turn around in a tornado, which will hurt enemies, and it will like move clouds away and do with some other stuff. Again, it's pretty obvious when you get to like an obstacle, and most of the main obstacles are like preventing you from getting toads. There's also puzzle pieces you can collect, and I collected all of them for like the first puzzle, and then it's just like a mini game you can play. There's a lot of little mini games you can play with the stylus. Then you can collect the mini games. You can collect like the soundtrack. There's a lot of like collectibles if you want to just 100% this for whatever reason, which I did not. So it's pretty fun. There's a lot of like interesting things to do. It was pretty smooth. I would say I enjoyed it for the most part. Going back and have to collect. Oh, I did not enjoy certain parts, and I'll get to that in a second. So, going back to the story, right? So Mario, Luigi, Toad get captured, and then Princess Peach comes back with like her main advisor Toad, and sees that everyone's like freaking out. They're all having like a range of emotions, and this affects the bad guys too. So there'll be like Koopa, and then there'll be like a Koopa, sad Koopa, or there'll be like a flying Koopa and like a flying angry Koopa, and they have like different abilities. None of it's that crazily different, but that exists, and it's kind of fun. Yeah. So she comes back and realizes all this stuff's happening, and she's like, I gotta go to this island and like rescue Mario and Luigi. And so she does. And that's like, and then you just play, and then at the very end, after you beat Bowser, the staff he was using to cause all this stuff goes into the sky, and then the Nintendo game's like, oh, what happened to the staff? We don't know. Maybe it's in your house right now. Has your dad ever yelled at you? Has your mom ever been super happy? Then maybe it's at your house. And it's like, the fuck? So that was pretty funny. Good stuff, though. That's the story. It's a Super Mario Brothers game. Like, there's virtually no story. But so we talk about the gameplay, right? And like I said, I mentioned a lot of it. It's a lot of platforming. And then just kind of figuring out how to use the stylus on these little things on the bottom so that you can activate things and do that. All that was fun. All that was fine. Finding Toads was fun. It was like my daughter enjoyed it. So like no complaints. Definitely recommend on that end. Now, before you fight the bosses of each level, so each like world, so there's like, it's a Mario game. There's regular world, there's desert world, or it's not desert, it's beach world in this, because you're on like a tropical island. There's ice world in the mountains, there's a volcano world, there's like forest world, and I say world, but it's just like the locations, and each location has like 6 levels and then a boss fight. And they're all pretty short. Like, you can run through these levels pretty quick. But then again, if you're searching for everything or backtracking or trying to like unlock things, then it's a little more involved. And then the bosses. The bosses are all cool. They're like big guys, and you got to use certain powers for each one. Like, sometimes you have to use the yellow one to fly above them, and then you do like a downward attack. Sometimes you have to, like, there's like a giant squid. You have to like break all its tentacles, and then what did you do? I don't remember exactly. But then you have to do something to like its face. Against Bowser, there's a part where you have to pick up bombs and toss them, because the umbrella can pick things up. It can throw them. You can eat them. You can just kind of drop them. So you have to throw bombs right at its face. So it's a lot of like using everything. Sometimes it got annoying because I had the mouse, like a computer mouse set up for the stylus, and so I had like one hand on that and then one hand on like the PlayStation 4 controller I'm using to play this on the emulator, and it got kind of crazy at times. But it was fine. There was nothing like, none of that stuff was bad. What is bad, at least in the emulator, and I can't imagine it being that much better with the stylus, to be completely honest, is that before you fight the bosses, you have to do like a stylus minigame. And some of them are easy and some of them are insane. So an easy one, for example, is like you just have to use the stylus to pull down on Peach while she's standing on like a vine, and then it will like jump her to like the next level. And you just do that all the way to the top. And the problem with these is if you get, it's not like you have lives. If you get hit once, you have to start over, which isn't a big deal until you get to like the worst one, in my opinion. Well, there's the worst one. The one to handle is there's this one where you have like a log, and you take the stylus and circle around the log to have it go up and down, and then there's like arrows that shoot at you periodically. Like it's very slow, but it's like it's hard to get this log moving, and then it's hard to get it to stop with the mouse. I don't know if that would probably be easier with the stylus, but it wasn't as annoying because you could kind of like control it somewhat. I felt like, but it was just like. It was almost more random than anything else. Like, I didn't feel like any skill was involved. It was just like, I just got to go, stop, hope I stopped in time. Okay, go. And it didn't take me that long to get through that one. The biggest one is like there's ones where you're like floating down into a castle, and there's ghosts, and the ghosts come up, and there's three kinds of ghosts. There's a ghost that takes like one hit, ghost that takes two hits, and ghost that takes like I don't know 25 hits sometimes it seemed. And this was the most annoying. And it wasn't even like you just had to have the stylus on them and like moving it. And so when trying to use the mouse, it's like I'm trying to jiggle jangle this thing. But again, your Peach is falling from the top screen, and you can only use the stylus in the bottom screen. So it became like this arduous task that I feel like I just lucked out because she's like floating back and forth. You can't control her. And then the ghosts are random, so they're like randomly coming up, so you can't even memorize it and be like there, and you have to like guesstimate. Because sometimes there'll be like three ghosts, and you got to look at where she's going, look at where the ghosts are going, while you're trying to move like a fucking mouse to this thing and like click on it a bunch of times. And if it's a big ghost, you have to click on it like a lot. Sometimes they would not die to clear it, because if she touches these ghosts, you got to do it again. And that was hands down the worst part of this game. Like I spent so much time being annoyed at that. But aside from those little mini games, the game was pretty good, and it was decent platforming, and I enjoyed like the little mechanics, and I thought they used the DS well. So that's Super Princess Peach DS. Good times. so, so go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe, and I will catch you all later.